see we're at a stop at a light. The wheel turned to the side too much for Autopilot to be recognized. You don't see a gray steering wheel icon right in this area. So if I try to turn on Autopilot, the car tells me it's not available. Here we are driving down the road. You can see Autopilot's available right now, so I'm going to double tap down. The car picks up the speed limit as 45. I've got a setting of 5 miles an hour over the speed limit here. That's because we're on a city street. My setting is actually to go 7 miles an hour over the speed limit. So you can see now we're coming up to a car that's in front of us here at this light. The car handled all of the braking, brings us down to a complete stop, and we'll remain here, and the car will go as soon as the light turns green. Alright, the camera might not pick it up in the distance, but the light just turned green. So we'll go ahead and leave the camera here, we'll see what happens. The car should start moving. Sometimes if you sit too long, you will get a indication that you've got to step on the accelerator pedal just to get the car going. It doesn't look like that's going to happen here, so let's see. There you go, the car starts moving on its own. One thing you'll notice, of course, Autopilot is definitely better for the highway. Now it's asking me to hold the wheel, so I'm just give it a little tug for a second. We can go right through the intersection. It'll still pick up the lane line, so it's definitely looking out far enough into the distance to pick up where the next lane line is going to be and kind of maintain that straight path down the road. And you can see again we're coming up to a red light. We've got the braking and regen there just above where the speed limit is, and again a complete stop. All right, here we are on the highway now. You can see that it's picking up a speed of 72 in the middle, which is 7 over the speed limit. That's because we're on the highway. There's no auto steer restriction. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on Autopilot. There we go. You'll notice it pulled me over to the middle of the lane. I was drifting a little bit. Now we wanna go ahead and switch lanes. So we're gonna turn on the blinker. You'll notice it dashes out that lane to the side. And then it goes ahead and starts to make that lane change. If we want to do one more, turn on the blinker, dashes out, makes the lane change, and once complete it turns off the blinker. If we want to make a speed adjustment, we can do that with the knob. 1 mile an hour there. If I swipe up fast, it'll do 5 at a time, so now we're up to 80. You'll see the car's picking up speed. And now, of course, to disengage Autopilot, I can just flick up really quick once. Now we're going to start to slow down with regen. Alright, here we are back in Autopilot. Coming up on an exit ramp here. You can see up ahead in the distance, it's got a pretty good incline as well as a pretty good shift to the right. You'll see the car handles it really well. I've got my hand here ready just in case. Of course, that's the way you should be driving in Autopilot, but let's go ahead and see. I'll hold the camera a little more steady. Should keep us pretty well centered in the lane here, doing it on its own. You can see the wheel moving. See the icon for the wheel moving a little bit there on the screen as well. And we are pretty much dead set in the middle of the lane here as we go. All right, not bad. Pretty good for 75 miles an hour down a curve. You can see we're going to come up to some merging up ahead. There's no one in my blind spot. Of course, Autopilot does not exactly merge. You can see it's just going to keep going, picking up the lane line, so it does shift me. I never go over the line, everything's okay there. Alright, now here's one that's interesting. You'll see where we've got it set to go 80. It's slowed down a little bit. We've got a car in front of us, but what you'll notice is it's going to come up here in just a second. There we go. Auto steer speed restricted to 75. There's a little bit of a bug here. I'm in a pay-to-speed lane on the highway, but for whatever reason it picks it up as if it's a city road. So you'll see, I'm going to try to add some more speed here. I'll get closer to the screen, and it will not let me. So the speed limit's 70, it detects that, but it will not let me do the 77, 80, 85, 90, however fast I'd like to go. All right, here we are coming up to our final stretch of highway that I want to show you. You certainly have to watch it. Remember, Autopilot is not self-driving. It's a convenience feature. It helps you. It's a driver assist tool. You can see the lines on the ground there. This is a pay-to-speed lane that goes both directions. So if I was in the left lane, the car might get confused and might want to drive into that barrier, for instance. So I watch it very carefully. You can see cars braking ahead, so maybe I even preemptively slow the car down a little bit more. I want to assist it. I don't have to. The car will definitely handle the braking here. It does really well. But, you know, why have an abrupt braking if the cars in front of me are slowing down harder? So I help it along. I kind of slow us down a little bit more. And you can see I've got a max of 45 here. The car is going under that now. We're going to come to complete stop and go. All right, we're picking it back up here for merging. So now you can see I'm definitely in stop and go traffic. So by flicking this right scroll wheel to the right, you can see I've moved my cruise follow distance down to 2. That's something I like to do in stop and go. I like to be at a 2 in stop and go. Kind of prevents cars from jumping in front of you as much as they might in slower speeds. And then of course back to 3 by going to the left there. And that'll help at higher speeds keep a safer distance. So I'll jump it back down to 2. You'll see we're coming up to a merge. I'm going to be prepared to take over. Remember, Autopilot does not merge for you. You'll see, I'll try to keep the video here, where and when it picks up cars that kind of jump in front of me as we merge from 2 lanes down to 1. So I would tell you that this works 50% of the time, but don't read into that too much. Works does not mean it's intended to do this. It's more, it gets lucky. So you can see, there we go. That Jeep just moved out of my way. So today is going to be my lucky day where it works, because there's really no effort. The car's pushing me over to the right to stay centered in the lane, and no one was next to me. So again, I was able to merge, but I was watching it closely. I wouldn't look down and take a phone call at this time, text someone. Of course, you shouldn't do that stuff anyway. But you could see it merged for me. It was very subtle. It wasn't abrupt. It was at lower speeds. All things that are when it's going to be at its safest. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial of Autopilot, and I'll look to bring you some more videos soon showing you some other fun stuff that Tesla can do. Thanks, everyone. All right, no Autopilot video would be complete without showing auto park. So let's go ahead and put it into reverse. You'll see I can press the start button. Let's go ahead and do that. And magic is happening. I will say, in my personal experience, this generally takes too long. So this is a feature I don't really use. The other thing about this feature is it only works by parking you in between 2 cars. Personally, I always park in corner spots, so it is not going to work for corner spots yet. So you can see steering wheel is doing its thing on its own. It has centered me in between these 2 cars. And it's just going to keep moving back now, keep moving back. Again, I think way too slow. But hey, the car has parked itself. And in fact, it is a perfect distance in between these 2 cars. And that's it. We're done. Auto park successful.